Good day and gratitude, family. This is Face the Nation, back again with Bolden Unchained, and we have another reading, our continued reading. We hope you're having a wonderful day today, a marvelous day today. Matter of fact, every day for yourself and on behalf of our people. Start saying you're having a wonderful day. Just pick any word that you love, any word that you like. You can say, "Oh, I'm having a marvelous day today." My favorite word is wonderful. Sometimes I switch it up and say marvelous, but let's just change the rhythm. Let's just change, the slackness in our wording. Let's just try it. Just one word. And not to be, against highly favored. I know that's one of our favorites collectively. I'm highly favored. But let's try something new. Some new uplifting words. Let's just try it. Because, let's get our disclaimer out the way. Bolden Boutique is here to assist Black America and Black media in the uncovering of the many operations, agendas, events, laws, bills, conspiracies, the many sabotages against Black America. Bolden Unchained is here for the healing of Black America. It is our mission to assist Black America in awakening to this 500-year-old grudge, this love-hate relationship that we are in America, with white America. We not here to sugarcoat nothing, because we don't need nothing sweet if it ain't natural. But Black America has always been oppressed by white America, and we still are. Bolden Boutique has many merchandise also. I wasn't going to mention that here, but we have our own brand. We are for the uplifting of Black America. First and foremost, we're not trying to hurt anyone in between, but we need it to be understood that Black America is our first and final concern. The welfare and the sanity of Black America is the sole thing that we are concerned about, that we are focused on. Our people have spent their lives in tears, their hopes and dreams, including everyone else, because they know how it felt to be excluded. So no one's excluded, but you better know you ain't just in with no fashion. This is not a fashion for us. Our brands are not just fashion. They are our lifestyles for our people. And white America, this is your chance to be sincere with us, because we show sincere with ourselves now. I mean, I don't know who had the sugar, sprinkling it on everything. But it was to our detriment that all of it happened. So Bolden Unchained, we're not here for that. We're not here to sugarcoat and to make it easy. We're not here to comfort nobody but our ancestors. Let's get that out the way right now. That's what Bolden Unchained is here for. So, however, no one is excluded. You better know whose side you on. Because right here, we ain't sugarcoating nothing for nobody. We don't forgive none of the clansmen, the clancestors that perpetrated these actions, these ideas, these heinous crimes that are still being perpetrated today. If you look at Black media. So our copyright disclaimer under 107, the copyright disclaimer under 107 of the Copyright Act 1976 allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. The fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. However, nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. And I got something to say. Yeah, I got some criticisms about what has happened to Black America. And if you do too, then you need to get you in position where you can speak too. Because after we gone, our little Godwin, our little babies, it's them. They next in line. They next in line to be corralled, to be steered, misled, ill-informed, not taught. We can't let it happen. Black America, we have to stand up for Black America. I mean, we see it right now. I don't know if you looking or not, because I'm really, hell, I ain't trying to be too pressured about it. Because America is on its way to hell. You ain't seen? America is on its way to hell. And I don't know at which point I'm going to jump the hell off. Because I'm not going with America. I'm not going to hell with America for what America has done. America hasn't even, white America hasn't even been sincere in, white America hasn't even been sincere in their atrociousness. Just flat out denied it. Flat out ignored it. Don't you say a word about racial violence. The land that's ours, we had to forfeit. And still, it ain't no sincerity to us. And all Black America really asking for is, rights that everybody had. Ain't that what we learned about in the book? The liberty and pursuit of happiness for every man. But that did come out. That was 100 years before Black people was physically slaves. Does that still mean today? See, this whole diabolical scheme right here, we got to talk about this. Because our ancestors, baby, what they survived, woo-wee, they need to be teaching this. We need to be teaching this to our children so they can see the strength and the bravery and the power that's inside of them. They wouldn't succumb to not even a fraction of these sabotages that's out here laid up for Black America. I don't know how it come to be, because I did it too. I just started seeing Black America wasn't okay till like maybe 15 years ago. Till then, honey, I thought Black America was fine. I thought white America was fine. I didn't know nothing about all of this. Now I knew about some isolated incidents. They seemed isolated to me because I only knew of a handful, like Emmett Till. I only knew of a handful of incidents, but I didn't even know the depth of that. So, that's how it was designed. That's the very reason why whomever it was, Do Funny said, put it in a book. And Black people won't read it. They won't never even find out. But honey, we love to read on Bolden Unchained, and we gonna read any and everything to do with Black America and white America too, for all the studying that white America has done on Black America, for all the experiments, all the fake treatments. It's time to study y'all asses now. Black America, you got a choice to make. For too long, Black America, we have denied, forfeited, sacrificed, sold out, threw to the side, kicked around, neglected, rejected our own history. Our own history. The good, the bad, and the ugly. It happened. Oh, wow. See that right there? Racial violence in Kentucky, 1865 to 1940. It happened. In forgetting that, in forgetting the racial violence, we also forgot them. We forgot them, their power. We forgot their love, their faithfulness to us. See, and even in some of these love letters that we're reading now, we're going to get to some narratives and stuff. And we might hear, like in this book right here, we might hear our ancestors in their speeches when they say for all. For all. And they sincere. They were very sincere in their speeches for all. Even knowing that while they were struggling for that freedom, that spark of freedom for themselves and their people, the whole time before they made it there, ain't nobody done nothing for them. Nobody but them. Now we do have, check this out, I got a surprise for you right now. The other surprises, I ain't been able to bring them off, to pull them off and stuff, I can't really sing, and all that good stuff. And I don't have the other monitor. Let me get my glasses so I can see here. I don't have my other monitor so I can make it more efficient, but I do have it in mind. So come on. Look, check this out here. We're going to be reading these right here too. These here will go into the children's library. But look what I have for you. And white America, if you're watching too, and I'm pretty sure you are, kindly try to find that sincerity in you all that John had. Let me take this off. When I be able to get get things better suited, because I like to show what. Oh man. I like to show the books and the pages and the illustrations and stuff. Now, see, there were a few white abolitionists who understood, they resonated that slavery was wrong. They knew that those black men were men. And they knew what white people, white men and the masters and the misses and the little kids too. Them little kids knew them grown people as their slaves. And so it was some white souls, some white people like John Brown that were against slavery. So we do want to keep that in mind, because we can give credit where credit is due. We know we got to pick the bulk up. We got to tote the bulk of this ankh. And we do that just like our ancestors did. And it don't hurt us to say that, yeah, John Brown, the white man, he lost his life at Harper's Ferry for black people. It don't hurt us to give John Brown his credit. It don't hurt us to say Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. But I'm going to say one thing. If he didn't have to, he wouldn't have. He said that. So see, it's not about us hating and us not wanting to reconcile with white America, us wanting to stay along with white America, integrated with white America. It's not about us wanting to be by ourselves and stuff. It's about white people can't be trusted. They ain't never been sincere with us. White America has never been sincere with us. And as hard as it is, as difficult as it is for us to understand that and to grasp that, so that we can give more of that focus and that love to heal with our own selves. And white people that feel this and resonate with this, that truly love black people like they say, then that wouldn't make them feel no type of way. That shouldn't make them feel threatened or uncomfortable. Because see, white America know that they know that they've crafted a demon inside of black America from all the torture that they took us through. They know that they crafted a demon inside of us, their demon, that they are, projected it right onto black America. And right to this day, we still having such a hard time getting back to us, getting back to our peaceful harmony. Yeah, we did have some miscreants, some weaklings in our races. What race don't? But for us to be shepherded like this, to be corralled and goaded like this, it's not right and it's not fair. And where they leading us, where a white America, because that's our open enemy. See, black people, black America is not my enemy. I understand the self-hatred. And I need us to understand the self-hatred, because we ain't never been our own enemy. We ain't never been an enemy. That's not in our nature. That ain't never been in our nature. To just skin a leg or an arm with a potato peeler. Just skin it down. Skin the hair off. Skin the skin off. Get below the skin, you see the white meat and stuff. Then you see the blood and stuff. Then you see the bone, and you just keep. We ain't never been of that nature. It ain't in us. So the weaklings that we do see, that have succumbed, that just gave in to the mindset, their minds turning to mush. They can't even think. They can't criticize. They can't focus. They just projected. Black America, our sanity, our well-being must be our priority. What we think when we die. So we think when we die, all of the youth that's going to be here, and some elderly people, and some middle-aged people, we think all of them black peoples is going to be okay. What they going to be fighting for? They don't even know who to fight for. The blocks, the song, the colors. Ain't nobody going to be fighting for justice, liberty. This not going to be that. Once we're gone, and The children of ours that we are teaching now, they might be so far and few in between. And then, not to mention, by then, it's a whole new world that's built up. So if you can't see the culmination of everything, then it should make it a little easier to have some sincere empathy for our people, for Black people. I don't know who all gonna see these videos, but it's to everybody. For the love of Black people, what has been your true intentions in all the silent years? Because see, in my opinion, society, y'all will let it happen again. Y'all see where Trump taking us. Y'all see that Trump is the, I read a newspaper. I forgot who it was by. Probably MSP, one of the Minneapolis newspapers, said that Trump was the avenger of the white man. That's what it said. I'll go get it if I need to and read it to you. But that paper said that Trump was the avenger of the white man. And I believe it. I sure do, and you better believe it. Make America great again. Make America this again. See, it was a problem. But the solution was waiting in the wings. It was a problem when this had to stop. It was a problem when this had to stop, and the Black man had to be recognized as a man. I mean, Black America built Tulsa up overnight. Black Wall Street was built up overnight. I mean, it was like you woke up one morning and the pyramids was in your front yard. That's how exceptional. So just bigger than life. I mean, like 10 feet tall. Black people are just gods and goddesses. I can't explain it. Black Wall Street, to me, and I didn't learn about Black Wall Street till 2013 or 2014. Around the time Terrence Franklin and Trayvon Martin were murdered. It was around that time, maybe a year after or so. And to me, it seemed like they built Black Wall Street overnight. It took like 20 years, I think, somewhere like that. But hell, to build up an empire, and that empire, in my opinion, was the model for all the other empires. Because there were more than one Black Wall Street. And we'll read about that, in my opinion. And all of them, it was the empire. It was the masterpiece, the legacy. Almost overnight. Ooh, white America couldn't wait till they thought of some reason so they can burn it down. And every Black Wall Street, every successful community, white America couldn't wait to demolish it. And they did. Yep, and they did. And we had white men like this that fought against other white men. And I believe that he was sincere in these times, because the motherfuckers today of white America, your backstabbing asses. How dare you? And this right here is what John Brown said. I will raise a storm in this country that will not be stayed so long as there is a slave on its soil. That's what John Brown said. The white man, the white abolitionist. So white America, you've had at least one at least one hero of your own. It was more than one. We read about some of the white abolitionists in this book. So white America ain't got no excuse. Your asses just didn't want to face what you've done to Black America because you want to make the whole world seem like we just fucking crazy on our own. We just hate each other on our own. We just lazy and dangerous on our own. Oh, that's their culture. That's how they act. No, that's how y'all ass indoctrinated Black America. White America did. And if it wasn't for our heroes and our sheroes, all our motherfucking asses would be crazy right about now. Y'all know. Don't nobody want to tell it. If it wasn't for our heroes and our sheroes, we wouldn't be able to focus. We wouldn't even remember. We would be too shaken up. We wouldn't have no Black media. No. If it wasn't for our heroes and our sheroes, when we walk physically, because mentally, hell, let's not go there mentally. But physically, when we were free from them chains, if it wasn't for our heroes and our sheroes, we'd have ran right back to the plantations. Yep. Because the fear, the breaking that was done to us was so traumatic. I mean, to imagine you finna step off this little piece of land right here, and everything around you is already turned against you. It already knows to be on the lookout for you. It already knows to block you. So coming off of that plantation, especially with nothing, the video of Jane Pittman, when the Union came through and they told Jane them that they were free slaves, and the master was on the porch crying, and the missus was crying, holding her baby, wanted some Black woman to take the baby then. And they were leaving. And all the slaves was in a line, and they had their possessions. Wasn't much, some little stuff they toted with them with the, and they passed by the master and the missus. They waiting in the line, and then there's some slaves out in the yard right there because he want to speak while they getting their stuff. I think they gave him a jug of ale, probably some wine, and an apple or something flimsy like that. And he telling them, if you stay, I'll pay you a good wage, a good deal. I'll be better to you. Like they just couldn't. They didn't deserve. They shouldn't attempt to be their own man. And then when a lot of the slaves stayed with them, hell, they cheated them, used them, still tried to beat them. Oh, yeah, honey, that was called sharecroppers, I believe. But it's so much in these books and stuff, honey, we should have been reading. Anybody should have read to me. So read with me. Because I'm going to tell you this right here. And I myself included in all of this. Because I'll be the first one to say that all the sabotages, it glitters. All the sabotages glitter. That's how they're made, to glitter. And ain't none of it gold. But I want to say this right here for Black America. If we want to speak about something, talk, got to be noticed, or want to say something, find a book and do it. Because fashion, music, all of this distractions and stuff, It ain't satisfying us with nothing. It ain't giving us nothing, no sustenance, no guidance. We just want to be talking about nothing. So if we ain't talking about us, we ain't talking about nothing. Pick up a book. Just read the book. That'll start the conversation right there. Let's see what time is. It's okay. We got time. We got time today. And then, I just have to say this really fast before we start reading. It really ain't New Year's. Black America. It really ain't New Year's. There's so many videos out there talking about how time been manipulated. Well, it was years ago. It was a struggle or something about time and stuff, and the workforce. Cause out of the three segments of time, 24 hours in a day, 8 is 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work, and 8 hours of play. And so it was a big fiasco about time and stuff because our time didn't really leave us time for us in nature, to be creative, for family. Our time was just always spent at work. Even look at how it went, even from the 8-hour work shift to 10-hour work shifts. And then they were like, 10 or 12-hour work shifts. You work 4 10-hour days and you off 3 days, or, 3 12-hour days and all of this crazy shit and stuff. Then they turn around and pay us in America every 2 weeks. You practically got to work at a temp service if you want a weekly paycheck. And then when they hire you on with the company, you get paid every 2 weeks. Time, this whole illusion of time, it's got us really psyched off and stuff, but everything does. Neely Fuller said it. He had it right. Everything, white supremacy, racism done saturated every aspect of life, our life, because we talking about us. But we will learn about our ancestors so we can know that, we will survive it. We're going to survive. We always do. You know how I know? Because the cosmos manifested us. The cosmos manifested Black people. Yes. So why you think the hater of Black people, the anti-Black people, the people who have tried so hard, the people who have perpetrated so much evil and satanic and demonic, how you think they gonna win? They ain't won yet. Another agenda even been added to the many agendas and events, the operations, the projects, the laws, the bills, the codes, the compromises. And see, it's been around for a long time too. All of them have really. They just finally reached their peak because it's being revealed why everything has been set in motion. And everything's set in motion to further distract Black America. Because see, other peoples can change their mind. Other people can change their mind. They weren't manifested by the cosmos. We were. We are the divine people. Other folks not the divine people. They can renege on any and everything. And they have. However, Black people, we can't just flip the script and renege. I changed my mind about that. Case in point, The transgender, what is it called? LBGTQSDRP. Them. I don't know. I didn't even look it up and stuff. But the other day I seen something saying that Trump finna stop all of that. And I just said it a few days ago. What about when folks stop being that? Oh, we don't want to be like that no more. We got to start having babies. We need to start having babies. Then black people is still stuck like that. So see, we can't do what everybody else do. Everything that every other people in society is doing is made to glitter. And that's what we got to teach ourselves and our children. That just because it glitter, honey, that don't mean nothing. Because you can take anything. I wish I had some right now where the kids be using the glue and they put the glitter on it. And then when it dry, show them that right there, honey. Because when you do that glitter like that, it all just come off, don't it? So see, we got to teach our babies that glitter, it ain't about shit, but bullshit. For real. I mean, it's like whiteout. When you make a mistake and you white it out, and when you're done with the whiteout, you try to scrub it so you can get back to what's under the bottom right there. See, we just got to think in other fashions, other ways. Just stop thinking in the Western mindset. And you know, and that might not even sound right, but it's true. Because we don't think naturally from a black perspective. Because we too busy thinking and seeing and living and eating and dressing with a white mindset. That's why our ancestors told us, you know, Martin told us, I fear I led my people in a burning house. Even the Bible said, come out of Babylon. All of these little subtle heeds of warning, they to Black America. White America, no. That's why I say white America for all your love. Those of you who claim that you resonate like John Brown, you should have told us. You have to tell everybody, but you could have started telling somebody. Black America, you need to do for Black America. You need to move with Black America and stop stampeding for everybody else in society because it don't work no more. Nope. I know allegedly it's January the 1st, 2025, but we don't know what dang day it is. We don't know what time it is. Years ago, I read, that's why Marvin Gaye wrote that song, What's Going On, because we didn't know what was going on. I liked it, Marvin Gaye. I love Marvin Gaye. But yeah, I read somewhere that's why he wrote that song, because Black people didn't know what was going on. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, the one that said it. And we will be looking at her documentaries and stuff. So anyway, my little pep talks, you ought to be thinking about something. Even if it's just to remember the name, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Because, yeah, Black America, that mindset, it's got to go. Yep. Now, I'm not for sure if it's 2025 or 2015. I kind of highly doubt if it's 2055. I ain't even going to get into the reasons why. Because you know that's going to be a long way around too. Just think, people, think. 40 acres and a mule. Every colored man will be a slave and feel himself a slave until he can raise his own bale of cotton and put his mark on it and say it's mine. These were the words of Prince Rivers, a Black Army veteran of South Carolina. Before the war, slaves worked large plantations of cotton, tobacco, sugar, and rice. Now, as free persons, they wanted to work to take care of themselves. But in order to do this, they needed land of their own with crops for profit. And these was crops that they knew. They knew how to grow and take care of. Thaddeus Stevens. Thaddeus. Thaddeus. Thaddeus Stevens, a white congressman from Pennsylvania, had an idea. He suggested that land be taken from the planters in the states that had rebelled and left the Union. So remember the planters that rebelled because they was pissed and they left the Union and formed their own, So he proposed to use that land. This land, he thought, could be given to the ex-slaves to work as their own. In this way, the rebellion states would be punished and the ex-slaves would have a good chance to begin a new life and grow their own crops. So that way, they felt like they would be punished for their bullshit, doing wrong, and the slaves, would be, taken care of, compensated. Yeah, compensated. So Thaddeus Stevens reminded the Congress that this had been done before. The American colonists who refused to support the American Revolution were driven into Canada, and their land had been taken away from them. Stevens felt that the slaves deserved the land. They were the ones who worked so hard in the fields day after day, night after night, from sun up to sundown, to make large profits for the landowners. The ex-slaves began to have hope that one day their dreams of owning their own land would come true. In 1862, Congress passed a law that stated that land could be seized for treason. But President Abraham Lincoln requested that the land could be taken only for the owner's lifetime. After this, it would have to be returned to the owner's family after his or her death. On the Sea Islands near South Carolina, some plantations had been sold because the owner could not pay taxes. This land was divided into 40-acre lots and sold to freedmen, and that's Freedmen, not freemen, Freemen, freedmen. Possibly what happened, perhaps, is that along after that, after freedmen, some black people just felt like we're going to take the D off. We're just going to be freemen. So there you have freemen. I don't know, though. I'm just speculating. The land of Confederate President Jefferson Davis was taken away and given to freedmen. After 2 years, when freedmen had begun to settle the land and farm it, the land was taken back and returned to the Davis family. See, all that reneging, even from then, it's what was done. It's what's expected. It's what's tolerated. It's agreed upon. They doing it today. White America still doing it today. Setting the tone for this, taking it back. Putting a marker here, moving it back, moving it forward. The goalpost here, but they move it forward. Adding another rung to the ladder. There's just no sincerity. I'm finding it very hard to find any. And then the many abolitionists that you did lynch, what make us think you still not this way? We can see right today. If we look at black media, you're disowning your own, you're outcasting your own because they want to say we did black people wrong. All we want is a chance to. And you know, white America, you ain't never been sincere to give that to us. And now everything being revealed. Everything is being revealed. Everybody is revealing white America. It's time to study you now. It's time to study white America now. And anybody that ain't studying white America, you need to ask yourself, whose side are you on? Oh, you neutral? You ain't on nobody's side, is you? Well, So we see the all of these white folk, white America, that was displeased about the slaves being held, they up and left and went and started their own stuff. So it was Jefferson, no, it was Thaddeus Stevens who decided, he proposed it, that you know, all of the land that they left go to black people, ex-slaves. And so President Jefferson Davis, his land went to black people. Black people built it up, started to settle, prosperity, had it growing and stuff, and was profiting and being prosperous and abundant. Then they come back and take the land back. And this was just one case of that. It happened all over. That's what was happening. All of that land was given back to them. But during these 2 years, black people have proved that they could be successful in working their own land. See, that's what that proved. See, that proved that black people could work their own land better than they worked the plantation land, the master's land. Yes, honey. That's all that revealed. That revealed that, see, they was hoping that black people wouldn't be able to flourish, wouldn't be able to make no growth. But honey, they was mistaken, because you know who manifested us. And freedmen refused to be disappointed. They still had hopes of someday having 40 acres and a mural to work it. So even though they started taking their land back, the proof was already in the pudding. Black men, black women was working their land, and they were prospering. They had the best crops, the best vegetables in the whole town, in the whole county. White people couldn't stand it. I don't know how they talked the Confederate, the people that left the Union and went over to the Confederate side. I don't know how they talked them into coming back so they can get that land out of black people's hands. But they did it. Because when they came back for their land, they said, well, we got to give their land back. And that's what happened. Yep. So black people still had hopes of having 40 acres and a mural to work it. Thaddeus Stevens didn't even give up his fight to help the freedmen become independent farmers. Thaddeus Stevens didn't give up his fight to help the freedmen become independent farmers. His proposal was that the government would take over 200 acres of land from ex-Confederates. The land would be auctioned off to the highest bidder. Money from the sales of the lands would be used in 4 ways. Now, this was Thaddeus Stevens. To care for the wounded veteran soldiers, to pay for Union War damages, to pay the Union War debt, and to pay the cost of 40 acres and a mule to each Black adult male or head of the family. Again and again, he urged Congress to hear his proposal. And again, Congress refused his request. Thaddeus Stevens died a broken-hearted man in 1868. His proposal of 40 acres and a mule for Black people died with him. And so did the hopes of millions of Black Americans. See what y'all did, America? Now do y'all, Black America, see why we cling? Now do we see, Black America, while we cling to the hope of religion? What did you say? We cling to the hope of religion. That book. We don't cling to the hope of standing together, being faithful and loyal to each other. We cling to the hope of Jesus, the white man with blonde hair and blue eyes, because that's, when you say that name, Jesus, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Jesus. Jesus Christ. Jesus. Who come into your mind? Who do you see? The blonde hair and the blue eyes? The pale skin? Who does Black America see? Because we need hope. Let's not get it twisted now. We do need hope. Oh, yeah. Black America needs hope. Do anybody see this? Do you see him? Is this who you see when I said Jesus? Black America. Who do you see when we say Jesus? And we're not finna make fun. We're not finna start no fiasco about it, because we know Black America needs hope. We just gonna put it into perspective. Yeah, we just gonna put it into perspective. We're gonna put it into perspective. That Black Santa Claus, he can get behind the book, but at least he Black. I don't even want a white Santa Claus. You better not give me no white Santa Claus. And I'm going to give him to the first child I see coming by. Yeah. But I got a Black Santa Claus. Someone gave me a Black Santa Claus. So okay. But so much. So much. And all we want is to just be free. Be mentally and physically free. Why can't Black people be free? Everybody is content with black people being just forgotten. Everybody still being okay with black people. Just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. When everybody can admit it now, everybody can admit it now. We had a hand in it. We didn't let y'all get far. You may have had some achievements and some successes, but on the whole, you ain't yourself, Black America. Everybody can admit it now. They ain't gotta fake the funk with us no more and act like, oh, we love y'all still. We sincere with y'all still. We won with y'all still. I don't know why they are. Because Trump done told white America anyway that, hell, they can be great again. And that's what they doing. And it's only a matter of time before everybody jump on the bandwagon. It's just a matter of time. Black America, it's time for us to look out for us. I mean, anywhere you go on this plane, anywhere you go on this planet, we hate it. Black people are hated. So here in America, even here, especially here in America, this is a safe haven. This is a sanctuary for other people in the rest of the world to come. And when they come here, we're here. They bring that hatred with them. And Trump is instilling and encouraging all of this hate. So that's why we must keep our eyes on the prize, because everybody else is, and we are the prize. Our babies are the prize. Our godren, they are the prize. Everybody know it, but us. The power in them, the strength, the resilience, it's in our babies. That's where it's at. Everybody know it, but us. I can't express it enough, because I didn't know either. It made me want to just get a satellite megaphone. Shout out to black men just because. Shout out to black women just because. You know. But if I could, I would read to the whole world. Look. All this love, this courage right here. We can't keep ignoring it. Let's read about the sharecropper. When I was telling you about the slave, the master would tell the slave, well, you can be free to go, but if you stay, I'll pay you, and I'll pay you good. I'll treat you right. Wanted the ex-slaves to stay on the land and work the land, and they would pay them and stuff. And that's what they would call the sharecropper. I think, or it turned out to be the sharecropper, because a lot of the slaves took that offer and they didn't go anywhere. You know, they stayed there and worked at that land and stuff. And then what happened? Let's read and see. I know their asses robbed them, ripped them off. Oh, I apologize for that. It's a siren outside my window, honey, and I'll be like, shoot, don't be jarring my cellular structures and stuff, you know, that huge thing. Because when I'm in the room and stuff, I can just feel it vibrating in my chest and stuff. So, honey, I'll run outside. But yeah. So let's get back to the sharecroppers and see what's happened with that. Because I bet you they robbed them. They ripped them off. What's that? I think it's a coincidence that the Black Wall Street was burned down in 1921. Probably to get us back on track. Then the Great Depression started in 1929. I sure believe you are right. Ooh, yeah, I have to go outside when that siren go off because I be like, don't be jarring me, scrambling me up and stuff. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, and Ashby said, I think it's a coincidence that the Black Wall Street was burned down in 1921, probably to get us back on track. Then the Great Depression started in 1929. Mm-hmm. Let's see. All right, let's get back to our lesson here about the sharecroppers and stuff. So when the master was telling the slaves and stuff, you don't have to go. You can stay and work the land, and I'll pay you, and I'll treat you fair, and you can have the same cabin that was your slave cabin, because the slave quarters, you know, were still put into use, you know. And so some of the ex-slaves did it like that. The title, The Sharecropper, could remind you of the title of a novel with romance, drama, or mystery. It was a novel. I didn't ever read it, but it said it was a novel titled The Sharecropper. And it could be of romance, drama, or mystery. Depends on how you look at it, how you read it, I guess. Quite the opposite from 1868, when a sharecropper led a miserable life, almost like that of a slave. So this book, The Sharecropper, was a novel about romance, drama, mystery, probably some cheating and, you know, that type of thing and stuff. But the sharecropper, as in the slaves, was totally different, you know. Yeah, so there's a book. I often wonder, you know, some things that are keywords for Black America, it's like that same keyword would come up sometimes in another era, sometimes right after that keyword was synced, in significance. And it just seems like that wasn't a coincidence to me. By the end of 1868, it was clear that Congress would not grant land to poor freedmen to begin a new independent life. Free blacks had to make a living somehow. Many freedmen and poor white people began a system of farming called sharecropping. In sharecropping, each family farmed a plot of land to grow crops. The owner of the land furnished the land, the seeds, the farming tools, and a cabin. When the tenant's crop was sold, he was to repay the landowner for the seeds and, for the land, for the tools, and for the cabin, But the rest of it was his. It was his profit. And that way, over time, as they had their own profit and they were able to, say, buy their own tools, then they didn't have to pay the landlord, the master, the man, for using his tool. They could buy their own seeds. They didn't have to pay him for using his seeds. So see, it was a way that they could have utilized it to gain a steady footing, but that wasn't to be the case. So many of the freedmen who were slaves, who used to be slaves, they now farmed the same land as sharecroppers. I'm gonna have to call you back. I'm gonna have to call you back. All right. I'm sorry. Many of the freedmen who were slaves now farmed the same land as sharecroppers. The plantation landowner was in charge of selling the crops and keeping records of the unpaid debt. Because see, a lot of the black ex-slaves couldn't read or write, so they couldn't keep up with how much they owed. There is a movie that one little boy, I think it was Booker T. Washington, when he was little, he learned how to read and write. And he was able to tell his father that the man cheated him. It was a movie of something of that nature and stuff. So a lot of times when the plantation landowner would write down how much was owed, he would cheat the black man and stuff, He would cheat them out of their money, all of them. When nobody able to become successful. Maybe the white men that, did this too, because it said poor whites and black people began a system called sharecropping. But as for the black sharecroppers, The plantation landowner was in charge of selling the crops and keeping record of the unpaid debt. Many sharecroppers could not read or write. This gave the landowner a chance to cheat, and they did. In the fall, when all the crops were gathered and sold, the sharecropper was ordered to come up to the big house for a settlement, to the plantation house, the big house. For most of the sharecroppers, this was a time of hope. So they would be like, this was a time of hope. They would be like, we finally doing it. We finally are taking care of ourselves. We are reaping the fruits of our harvest. Many hoped that the records would show that the debt for seeds and tools had been paid. Too many times, this was not the case. Usually, the sharecropper discovered that his crop had not bought enough money to pay his debt to the landowner. Therefore, many sharecroppers remained tied to the landowner, only to repeat the same situation year after year after year. Because, see, they couldn't even get the crop and take them and sell them. The landowner had to do that. So after they gathered all that cotton, all that tobacco, all that sugar, and the landowner took it and he sold it and got his $1 million. Well, he came back and said, oh, it was only 20,000. And it wasn't enough to pay off your seeds and stuff. So you owe me for next year. Something astronomous like that. Cheating. If the sharecropper tried to leave the plantation, he would be put in jail for owing a debt. See, y'all motherfuckers. A debt that didn't even exist. A debt that white America just pulled out their ass. You stole from the sharecroppers. You stole, white America, from the sharecroppers. Then you turned around and said, you owe me. And the black man, knowing in his heart, oh, no, I don't owe you. And they decide, well, we just going to leave. You put them in jail. Where have you been sincere with black America? When was you sincere? Because you still ain't sincere today. The sharecropper system was very profitable for the landowner, but for the sharecropper, it was a never-ending cycle for him and his family. See, now that we studying white America, all this paper trail that y'all done left, this is what needs to be studied. All these families that was ripped off, all these sharecropping families that was ripped off, them white landowners that was stealing, you got to give it all back. Everything needs to be given back. Reparations need to be paid. You must repay and repent, white America. And because you won't do it, cosmic energy and Mother Gaia is on your ass. The halls of Congress. The 15th Amendment was proposed on February the 26th, my daddy's birthday, 1869, and approved March the 30th. That's my cousin's birthday, 1870. This amendment gave blacks who were former slaves the right to vote. This amendment gave black people who were former slaves the right to vote. This was 1869. Black America walked off them plantations in 1865. So this was like 4 years. It says that a voter can't be denied the right to vote because of his race. Let's see. The southern states were forced to pass these amendments before being admitted to the Union. The southern states were forced to pass these amendments before they was being admitted to the Union. Now, is these the same states that left the Union and joined, they started their own Confederate? But remember, they came back because all the land that they gave up when they ran off, all that land was gave to black people. But see, they came back, got the land back. So is these the same? Yeah, southern states. And see, these southern states, they did pass the law that black people can vote, but you better not go do it. You better not take your ass over there and vote. That seemed like what happened to me. Fannie Lou Hamer. When Fannie was going to the vote, Medgar Evers, when they was going to vote, it was legal. White America was the one saying, you better not take your ass and vote. Let's read it and see. Congress was not sure that these states would give Black people the rights guaranteed by these amendments. So the South was divided into districts. A Union general with soldiers was in charge of each district. The Army watched over voting and kept order. During these years, African Americans were registered to vote. For the first time in American history, Black candidates were elected to positions in state and federal government. These congressmen spoke out on many issues. They were not only interested in gaining rights for Black people, but also for Indians and former Confederates who had some of their rights taken away as punishment for revolting against the Union. And former Confederates who had some of their rights taken away as punishment for revolting against the Union. Well, I can't imagine no extreme circumstances, no extreme rights that they would have lost for revolting against the Union, because the Union was for slavery. I mean, the Union was against slavery. So them revolting against the Union, they revolted against what was good. They revolted against pro-life. However, these Black congressmen still spoke up for their rights that was being taken as a punishment of them being against, the Union. So see, our people was always fair. Our people was always fair and sincere with everybody. They spoke out for changes in election tactics and changes in education too. We're going to read the Halls of Congress. Yep. Woo-wee. Because it's got the representative, the state they represented, and the number of terms they did. So let's read that. The Halls of Congress. Between 1869 and 1901, 22 Black people served in the United States Congress. 20 served as congressmen and 2 were senators. The first Black to be seated in Congress was Jefferson Long. He was elected in 1869 from Georgia. Other congressmen, their states and terms are shown in this chart below. So these are the representatives. John R. Lynch, and he represented Mississippi. He served 3 terms. Josiah T. Walls for Florida, he served 3 terms. John Langston in the state of Virginia, he served 1 term. Jeremiah Harrison, Harralson, he served in Alabama 1 term. James Rapier, Rapier, Alabama 1 term. Benjamin S. Turner, Alabama 1 term. Charles Nash, Louisiana 1 term. James O'Hara, North Carolina 2 terms. George White, North Carolina 2 terms. Henry Cheatham, Cheatham, North Carolina 2 terms. John S. Hyman, Hyman, North Carolina 1 term. Richard Cain, Cain, South Carolina 3 terms. Robert Elliott, South Carolina 3 terms. George Murray, South Carolina 3 terms. Robert D. Large, South Carolina 1 term. Thomas Miller, South Carolina 1 term. Alonzo Ransier, Ransier, South Carolina 1 term. Joseph Rainey, South Carolina 5 terms. Robert Smalls, South Carolina 5 terms. And remember, we read about Robert Smalls. I remember that name. But remember, we didn't add no hints to him. Remember Robert Smalls, when you had to do something you didn't want to do? You ever had to do something you didn't want to do? Well, remember Robert Smalls had to pilot the ship for the planter. He had to pilot the planter for the Confederates. And he didn't want to do it, but he did it. And then remember, I think it was Christmas. Him and other black men stole the ship with the ammunition on it, the guns. Oh, it was marvelous. That was Robert Smalls. And he served in South Carolina for 5 terms. Let's write this down here. That's on page 91. Yeah, Robert Smalls. And the other guys, I don't know. I think we did read about them because I recall some of the names. And opportunity. During the Reconstruction era, many African Americans became leaders in the political affairs of their states. They proved that they were as capable as anyone. All that they needed was the opportunity to serve. Francis Cardoza, Cardoza, received an opportunity when he Francis Cardoza received an opportunity when he was selected to become Secretary of State in South Carolina in 1868 and State Treasurer from 1872 to 1876. Cardoza was born in Charleston, South Carolina in 1863. Whoa! Francis Cardoza received an opportunity when he was selected to become Secretary of State in South Carolina in 1868 and then State Treasurer from 1872 to 1867. Cardoza was born in Charleston, South Carolina in 1863. Now this right here seems to me to be a misprint, but I'm just going to read it. He attended school. He attended school until he was 12 years old. Okay, because remember, it wasn't no 12 years of school. Slaves often had to quit school even as young as 5, 7, 9. Dorothy Bolden, who started the National Domestic Aliens for the National Aliens for Domestic Workers, Dorothy Bolden, my namesake. She had to quit school to help her mom. Her mom was a domestic worker, but as early as slavery and stuff, black kids couldn't go to school. Cardoza was born in Charleston, South Carolina in 1863. He attended school till he was 12 years old. Then he began working to learn to become a carpenter. He worked for 9 years and saved enough to continue his education. He earned a scholarship to study abroad at the University of Glasgow, Scotland, for 4 years. At the university, he won outstanding recognition for his achievements in the Latin and Greek languages. Oh, yeah. We phenomenal at speaking other languages. Yes, we are phenomenal at speaking other languages. You know why? You want me to tell you why? Because English is not our first language. It's not our natural language. No, English is not. Every, in my opinion, every few words that we speak, that Black America speaks, is a curse. That's just what I feel. That's what I believe. I think that. I don't know how other folks think, but I think every few words that Black America speaks is a curse being spoken. That's why we have to be very careful of the words that we do speak. I didn't know either. Shit, I had no idea when I say, ooh, I be damn, if that ain't who I think it is. And then my best friend would say, well, Daphne, you all right? Because that show who it is. But just saying that, I had no idea. And the Bible says power in the tongue, in the words, power in the tongue, and the words and stuff. But it's even more so for Black America, see. See, we'll go so far as to letting us know that it's something you need to study deeper, but we won't just come out and say it. Knowing that Black America is so traumatized, for crying out loud, we still in a burning house. So why put something, why sugarcoat it for us, and why put the breadcrumbs down when you need to say, hell, you take your ass over there and eat, or you don't eat? Why not? Why all the bushes, going around the bush with everything, instead of just saying what it is, basically. So, yeah, he worked until he was 9 years old and saved up enough for his education. Francis Cardoza. He earned a scholarship to study abroad at the University of Glasgow, Scotland for 4 years. And then at the university, he won outstanding recognition for his achievements in the Latin and Greek languages. He studied at Presbyterian seminars in Edinburgh and London. After his education abroad, he returned to the United States in 1864 and became a minister at a Congregational church in New Haven, Connecticut. In 1865, he was appointed head of a newly organized school in Charleston. During the Reconstruction era, Francis Cardoza was a member of the South Carolina Constitutional Convention of 1868. Here he was elected Secretary of State. Before his term ended, he accepted a position of professor at. There he was elected Secretary of State. Before his term ended, he accepted a position of Professor of Latin at University Howard in Washington, D.C. In 1872, he was elected State Treasurer and was re-elected because he was so good, he was so honest, he was so fair. He was re-elected in 1876, but because of home rule, he was not permitted to hold this office. Home rule meant that states could govern themselves if they saw fit. The Southern ex-Confederate states saw fit to take the voting power away from African Americans. Therefore, Blacks was no longer voted into public offices. You follow that? However, in 1878, Francis Cardoza, was appointed to serve in the Treasury Department in Washington, D.C. because he was so good, fair, honest. He was a man. In 1884, he became principal of a high school for Black people, for Blacks, in the nation's capital. Cardoza died in 1903, but he will always be remembered as the best educated man, regardless of race, in the political affairs of his home state. See, there wasn't nothing going on in his home state that he didn't know about and strive to make it better for Black people, for his people. A shining example. Although several Black Americans participated in government and politics during the Reconstruction era, one person who stood out as a shining example of them all was Josiah T. Settle, Settle. Josiah T. Settle was a Republican elector at large from Mississippi. Sound like everybody wanted him. He was born a slave in Mississippi. He and his family were given their freedom when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. They settled in Hamilton, Ohio to begin their new life. The schools were integrated there. Both white and black children attended the same school. The black children were often mistreated by both white teachers and white students. One day, one of Josiah's white teachers found out that Josiah was a bright student who learned quickly. She began to take an interest in him. She encouraged him to go to Oberlin College in 1868. In college, he learned to speak well. He was chosen to represent his class in various speaking contests. After his first year in college, his money ran out and he couldn't continue his education. Yep, his money ran out. Josiah did not become discouraged. He looked for other ways to complete his education. When the Freedmen's Bureau set up a school to educate the poor and needy in Washington, D.C., Josiah enrolled. He entered Howard University. When Howard University graduated its first students in 1927, Josiah was one of the graduates. He helped pay for his schooling. To help pay for his schooling, he worked as a clerk for the Freedmen's Bureau. Now, see, he was honest. Josiah was an honest man. It wasn't no question, no doubt that he was an honorable man. Keep that in mind. In 1875, the Republicans lost control in Mississippi. This was not the end for this brilliant young man. However, this was not the end for this brilliant young man. He attended the National Convention in 1876 and 1880 also. In 1883, Josiah ran as an independent for a seat in his home state, Mississippi. In his home state legislature, he defeated both the Democrat and the Republican candidates. By 1885, the tide had turned against black politicians. Josiah gave up politics and moved to Memphis, Tennessee, and started his law practice there. I mean, he defeated both of the Republicans and the Democrats. But by 1885, the tide started to turn against black America. Yeah, black politicians. And that's when black politicians sold out. They folded. They sacrificed black America. That's when the beginning, when they knew that the tide was turning against them. That's when they should have crashed that motherfucking vulture then. Within 2 months, he was appointed Assistant Attorney General. Within 2 months, Josiah was appointed Assistant Attorney General of the Criminal Court of Shelby County, Tennessee, Memphis. He developed a successful law practice and maintained it for several years. Loss of rights. In 1868, General Ulysses S. Grant became president with the help of 450,000 black votes. Southerners then began to realize that they began to realize what blacks could do by voting. The Bourbons, Bourbons, dissatisfied Southerners, the Bourbons. They set about to change things because, see, they realized the power that black America had by voting. So the Southerners, they always watching. It was always watching. First, they began attacking, beating, and hanging black people. These acts was to frighten blacks so that they would not vote and to drive them from the public office. They wanted to gain control. So they formed groups. The main one being the Ku Klux Klan. It's right there in the book. Your clan ancestors. That's what y'all named them. Y'all was so proud of them. The Klan is coming. The Klan is coming. Y'all embraced that name, that group, that cult. This secret organization burned homes of blacks and beat and hanged them. It did the same for white people who tried to help black people. That's why it was so easy to kill John Brown. That's why it was so easy to lynch young people. Because when they started it, could nobody get in the way of decimating and castrating them black bodies. There was no protection from the Klan. So it did the same thing for white people. Members of the Klan wore sheets and hoods, and they burned crosses as a warning. That was a warning. There was no protection from the Klan, though. Even members of the law enforcement and other county and state government officials were members. They were members. In our Midnight with the Ancestors, we've read about how the sheriff's deputy, the judge, the lawyers was on the front line of the mobs, the lynch mobs. Thousands of blacks were murdered by the Klan, and many more were driven from their home and land. President Ulysses S. Grant tried to bring law and order to the South, but he was unable to provide protection for the blacks from the Klan. That's because white America, y'all supported your evilness. Y'all supported them. Y'all kept them alive, and they still alive today. The Klan is. Look them up. Could nobody protect black people from the Klan? White America wasn't trying to do it, and you still ain't. The terror continued to spread throughout the South. It was then that Congress decided to do something about it. In 1871, Congress passed laws to crush the Klan and other secret societies. What, like the Black Knights? It's a whole lot of them. We think it's just a Klan, but they got a whole lot of names. Hundreds of whites were arrested, tried, and convicted, but the terror continued. Hundreds of whites. We talking about it was thousands of whites at one lynching. Arresting hundreds of whites, it's just like a drop in a bucket. When you got thousands that came for one lynching, and then thousands that came for another lynching, and they possibly don't even have to be none of the same people from either lynchings, because they came out that deep. The Republican Party, under which many black people had served in state and national government, was overthrown. Let me back up to that one line. Hundreds of whites were arrested, tried, and convicted, but the terror continued. The Republican Party, under which many blacks had served in state and national government, was overthrown, and the Democratic Party regained strength. Year by year, the Republican Party grew weaker and weaker, and the Democratic Party used guns and other weapons to take control of elections and to frighten blacks to keep them from voting. Because see, I always wonder, how in the hell did the black people get tricked from the Republican Party to the Democrat Party? And today, I want to know, how in the hell black America tricked to even stay on this bird? The Republicans or the Democrat? Why is black America on this bird, on this vulture? We need to crash this whole bird. Black America. In 1876, a presidential election was held. Check this out. The Democrats wanted to end Reconstruction. The Republicans wanted to keep it going. When the votes was counted, both sides claimed that they had won. This was a big problem, but it had to be settled. Who would be president of the United States? To settle the issue, the Republicans promised to remove federal troops from the South. It promised that the Southern states could do whatever they wanted to about blacks. The Republicans also promised to help the South rebuild their cities, their farms and homes that was destroyed during the Civil War. This was just what the Southern Democrats wanted. So the Democrats agreed to accept the Republican candidate, and Rutherford B. Hayes became president of the United States. When President Rutherford B. Hayes took office in March 1877, he kept his promise to the Democrats. He immediately ordered all federal troops to leave the South. The Southern Democrats was now in full control. When they gained control, they made sure that blacks would never, ever participate in government again, at least for that time. See, the reneging, the lying, the manipulation, the treachery, the flat-out, bald-faced lie, after lie, after lie, after lie. Yeah, honey. Yes. So the Democrats agreed to accept the Republican candidate, Rutherford B. Hayes. The Republican candidate, and Rutherford B. Hayes became president of the United States. And Rutherford, he was a president now, and he did honor their demands, what the Republicans wanted, but like the federal troops to lead the South. He honored that, and the federal troops, they got up out of the South. Yep, he did honor that. But when it came to black people, he didn't honor a damn thing. He didn't honor nothing. It said right here. The Southern Democrats was now in full control. When they gained control, they made sure that blacks would never participate in government again, at least for that time. For a brief time after the Civil War, blacks and whites in the South had been governed by a government that respected both races. But now all of this was gone. Slavery was gone, but freedom had not lived long. Reconstruction with hopes and promises for better lives for Black Americans had suddenly come to an end, and so did the hopes and dreams of Black Americans. Let's read this again. For a brief time after the Civil War, Black people and white people in the South had been governed by a government that respected both races. Because, see, if it wasn't for Black people, the war never would have been won. Black people fought in that war, in the Civil War, and I believe, in my opinion, it was 3 Black people that won them 3 Metal Hearts that they disused. They stopped doing it. Because Black people showed their magnificence on the battlefield. Black people showed their exquisiteness on the battlefield. So see, yeah, at first, after the Civil War, the The government respected both black folks and white folks, but that just wore off. It wore off. But now all of this was gone. Slavery was gone, but freedom had not lived long. Reconstruction with hopes and promises for better lives for black Americans has suddenly come to an end. Now ain't nobody give a damn about nothing for black America. Yep. And so did the hopes and dreams of black Americans. Other folks stopped hoping and caring and promising for a better, life, better opportunities for black America. And black America gave up, hope. Black America lost hope. Because, it's like, how much more do we have to do? How much more do we have to sacrifice until you are sincere? So we've always been reneged on. America's always reneged on us, giving us something and taking it back. Made like you building something for black America, but you're really not. You give the built, the creation to others and give us the scraps that you didn't use so that we may take them scraps and build for ourselves. But black Americans was not so sad. Nah, we wasn't that motherfucking sad. We kind of knew y'all motherfucking asses was going to do that shit again. So it didn't break us too much. It disappointed us. I know it did. Because that's all white America's ever done, is disappoint us, let black America down. But yeah, our ancestors, y'all didn't disappoint us too much. You just showed your motherfucking selves. And they was watching. But black Americans was not so sad. They had made some improvements that could never be taken away. They had improved their living conditions. They had the opportunity to get an education. And they had sat in the legislatures of their individual states, as well as in the Congress of the United States. This experience, though short it was, it could never be taken away from them. Because we did it once, we could do it again. See, white America started building up all these obstacles, all these challenges that put a stop to everything, that put a halt to everything. But see, once we done did it once, we gonna find a way so that we can do it again. Because we are the only ones that's loyal to us. When it comes to white America, here, an organized gang. Oh, this right here is one of the activities. Let's just see what it's about. And this for the kids right here. This for the grandbabies. We just reading it to learn. The Ku Klux Klan is an organized gang that harasses black Americans and other minorities. Other minorities. Why y'all come here and treat us like white America treats us, white America treats y'all like us. Imagine that you have, the symbols of the Klan are white robes with pointed hoods and a burning cross. Imagine that you have been appointed to organize a gang to promote friendship among people of different races. What will the name of your gang be? And then it say define a uniform that your gang members will wear. Write some rules for members of your gang. Design a symbol to represent your gang. Will your gang have a motto or pledge? What will your gang do to promote peace among the races? But first of all, we wouldn't call it no gang. But that's one of the activities in this little book right here. See, as we read these books to the children, to our babies, we will be learning also. Just try to get some dialogue going so we can at least start talking. I mean, I know some of the things I'm thinking of and saying probably is far from the truth. But some of it is, probably right on too. We just got to dialogue. We just got to talk, think, critique. All right, 10 minutes. The Great Exodus. In 1879, over 50,000 African Americans packed up their few belongings and headed west. Black people were leaving. We're leaving. They were packing up. It's time to go. They were getting the clothes. They were getting their belongings, getting their little shoes, their dresses, the kids, what foods they taking with them. They getting their chickens if they got some. And it's time to go. Ooh, this was some type of migration right here. Black people leaving. And see, this time, they heading to the west. The other time we read about the migration, they headed north. Oh, yeah. The hard days of Reconstruction, bad crops, and an outbreak of yellow fever, violence, and discrimination in the South had caused the great movement. Black folks was fed up. The Great Exodus was led by Benjamin Pap Singleton. Pap, P-A-P, Pap. Pap Singleton was an ex-slave from Tennessee, and he wasn't taking no shit. It's time to go. He traveled throughout the South, urging Black people to follow him to Kansas. Let's go. In Kansas, he said Blacks could set up their own towns and communities and be free from all of the harassment that they were suffering in the South. You ain't got to stay here. We ain't got to stay here. By the summer of 1879, 10,000 Black exodusters had moved to Kansas. They settled there and established their own small communities. Some African Americans did not think that the Exodus was a good idea. They thought that Blacks should stay and fight for better living conditions. But thousands of Blacks continued to look for a bright future in the West. They wanted to forget Reconstruction, sharecropping, violence, and discrimination. At first, it seemed that they had left all these things behind. But the winter of 1879 would change their minds. The winter was very cold, honey. Many of them died from diseases and starvation. They soon found out that sunny Kansas was not their idea of a good place to live. They then had to compete for jobs and land. Discrimination was a problem too. There still was some discrimination now. Some stuck it out, but many returned to the worst conditions in the South because the weather wasn't so brutal in the South. Starvation wasn't so readily normal in the South. But up there where it was just barren, cold land through them winter months, they couldn't survive it. Can you just imagine their health with the lack of good, nutritious food, the depletion of the sun, because in the wintertime, we don't hardly get no sunlight. So many of them returned to the worst conditions in the South. The sudden mass migration of Blacks from the South, oh, that scared the hell out of white people. White people in the South, when Black people started leaving, when Pap said, come on, let's go, and thousands of people left the South and went west, white people panicked. They didn't know what to do. It said right here, the sudden, because it was sudden. They don't know where Pap came from, when, how, why. Pap just decided it's time to go. And there he come. He come walking. He just came walking. And there you have it. So the sudden mass migration of Blacks from the South had alarmed white Southern farmers. Them Southern farmers, they was freaking out. Who gonna farm this land? We can't do it. We can't even get in the sun. We don't have the strength, the stamina. Oh, they were panicking. They didn't know what the hell to do. So in 1881, a Senate committee was appointed to investigate this great movement. What the hell is to investigate? because black people decided we leaving. During the hearing, Pap Singleton testified that he was the one who started the great exodus west. Pap stood up and said it was me. I told him, let's go. I walked up and said, come on, we leaving. Now, since you want to investigate, Pap stood up and said, I told him, let's go. Hell, don't be scaring my people. Asking them who told you to leave, who told you let's go. Why are you here? Why did you leave there? Making our people feel like, oh, we should have stayed. We never should have left. They're coming. They're going to question us. They're going to take us back. We never should have left. They mad at us. You know, black people were scared. They coming to investigate. Shit. In 1882, in Topeka, Kansas, a grand celebration was given to honor Benjamin Pap Singleton for his part in helping black people to just try a new life. I know that's right, Pap. My brother. Shit, Pap said, let's go. Let's go. Oh, we're going to leave it right there on Pap. And good day, and family. Have a wonderful day. And remember our ancestors. Go get on YouTube. Google our ancestors. Start with our inventors. Just start with the inventors and the scientists. And that way, see, you can bring the kids in with that. You can teach our babies. And start your channel and stuff. Because I know they're going to just start learning. They're going to start picking up these names. They're going to start learning these names and what happened and what they did. Oh, it's going to be so wonderful, you know. I mean, woo-wee. And so anyway, just get started. And, you know, let's just love on us. Let's love our legacy. Let's find these love letters. Our ancestors left us love letters. Ain't that ironic? But ain't that ironic how white America, because white America did it. If white America didn't do it, then they need to tell who did. But white America didn't want us to read, said put it in a book, black people never read it. And our ancestors wrote us letters, love letters. The slave narratives, they are literally love letters. I've read some of them. They are love letters to us, telling us, documenting to us what happened individually, collectively, what they saw done to our people, what happened to them. You know, all of these are letters of love for us. It's a shame that other people got our love letters and our models and our blueprints that our ancestors left for us, because they feel like as long as they got it, they can keep us from having it, and they can keep us from using it to better our lives, because we still got to better our lives. Our lives ain't better like they would have been if we hadn't wholeheartedly integrated. I mean, it would have been enough if we still would have built our own businesses, schools, hospitals, clinics, libraries, barbershops like we did, and just come out to mingle every now and then and go back to our own businesses and communities, you know, instead of wholeheartedly integrating everything. We just dropped everything and let's just be with y'all. And that was the mistake, you know. But that's all it was, a mistake. We can make corrections, you know. We're going to correct all of this because we have to. We ain't got no choice now. We have to. We are forced. This is a second awakening. The first awakening that we had This was the first awakening to my knowledge. This is the first awakening to my knowledge. And this was 1919. But see, black people had been fighting back all along, all through slavery, through the capture of slavery. Black people had been fighting back. Perhaps it's saying that it became an awakening when black people collectively started fighting back and banding together, not just 2, 3, or 4, or just one family, but thrones of black people just banded together. Like the 400 abolitionists that saved Charles Nails, instead of just 4 black people, it was 400. So see, there's a distinguishing fine line right there. But yes, we are an exceptional, wonderful, marvelous, persistent people. Black people are. Yes, black people are the children of the sun. You, the children of the sun. Please, at least start with our heroes. Just search up African-American heroes, sheroes, or put in inventors or scientists, and they'll come up. Yeah. And I can't wait to see what you come up with too. But peace and power to the people.